Hey guys, welcome to week 5 of the Performance Challenge. This week it's just me, so we're going to be talking about some nutrition stuff. Now, we all know that we need energy to do everything in life, and we need energy to exercise, right? Well, our energy that we get comes from the foods we eat and the fluids we drink. And basically, the foods we eat are broken down into 3 categories. We have carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Now, we're going to go back and we're going to talk about carbohydrates some more. And the reason being is because carbohydrates are what fuel our body. They fuel our brain and they fuel our central nervous system. So they're the most important. They're our body's preferred fuel source. Carbs, when we take them in, they're used for immediate energy. But also, our body has this process where extra carbohydrates that we don't need immediately, they get stored in our muscle tissue and our liver as glycogen. Now, this glycogen comes in handy when we need energy, okay? Because our body pulls out the glycogen and it breaks it down and provides us with that energy that we need. Now, besides being the most important energy yielding nutrient to maximize our performance, we saw in week 2 that by not having enough carbohydrates, our performance can actually be hindered. A lot of us went in to the box and we did a WOD on lower carbohydrates than we normally would, or Jeff and I have been recommending to you. And what we found was that a lot of people complained about fatigue or not having the motivation to get that last rep out, mental fuzziness. And this all has to do with coming in with depleted carb stores. You didn't have any energy. Now, your body can get energy from the protein and fats, but it's a long, drawn-out process, and it's not very efficient. So we recommend for you to always have a certain amount of carbohydrates and keep your glycogen stores up so that you can work to the best of your body's ability. And that's what we want. Now, carbohydrates, you take them in, you get that immediate energy. They're also stored as glycogen. But it's important to realize that you can take in excess carbs. And what happens when you take in the excess carbs is that they actually get stored as fat. So you get that immediate energy. Then your muscle and your liver can only hold so much glycogen. And after that, you start getting fat. So this is why, some people, we've reduced some of the carbohydrates or we've even added more because their activity level was a lot higher. Now, the thing with the carbohydrates is not all carbohydrates are the same, okay? We have simple carbohydrates and we have complex carbohydrates. Now, simple carbohydrates are they're simple, okay? They're smaller than the complex carbohydrate. So your body, when it takes it in, it's easier to break down in your body. And then it gets used faster for that immediate energy. Whereas complex carbohydrates, they're more complex, they're bigger. Your body has this whole big process to try to break them down and digest them. And you don't get that immediate energy release. But they're both really useful and they're both important in our diet. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to look at them a little bit more in detail, and we're going to discuss maybe the timing on them, and then I'm going to give you all an assignment, okay? So all carbohydrates in essence have the same starting molecule, and it's a glucose molecule. We call it sugar, blood sugar. It's all encompassed under the same bubble, same meaning, okay? So simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates are, in essence, a glucose molecule. Now, simple carbohydrates are this glucose molecule and maybe a couple things sticking off. Pretty simple. When you're looking at your labels or you're eating your foods, the key words that you're going to look for, that are going to clue you in that it's a simple carbohydrate, is glucose, sucrose, fructose, lactose, and maltose. Now, Maltose is a malted barley, so think beer. Simple carbohydrate right there, guys. Sorry. Um, Lactose. Now, lactose is in dairy products, so milk has lactose in it. It's a milk sugar. Sucrose comes from the sugarcane plant, and it's used as a sweetener in tons of things. It's in lots of things. Glucose is simple sugar molecule broken down the very essence of it. And then fructose is found in things like fruit, honey, agave nectar. Basically, plant products you're going to get your fructose and your glucose from. Um, there's another one, actually, too, and it's called galactose. And it's not found in that many foods. It's in some produce, some vegetables, and some fruits, but it's not really readily available. The one thing about simple carbohydrates is that they taste sweet most of the time. So it's just something to keep in mind. Like they kind of taste sweet, and even milk has a sweet type flavor. Just interesting. But so simple carbohydrates, when you take them in, like I said, they're going to get broken down a lot faster. So what happens then is that glucose, that essential molecule, is released into your bloodstream, giving you that immediate energy. Okay. Now, comparing that to complex carbohydrates involve things like your starches, which mainly come from plants, your cereal grains, which kind of falls under starches, but there's a lot more under cereal grains. And then we have fiber. Okay, so looking at starches. Starches are a great carbohydrate. When you take in starches, like I said, it's not a simple carb, so it takes your body longer to digest it, but it also gets stored in your muscle and your liver as glycogen. So it's a good storage food, for energy. So when we talk about having sweet potatoes at night for people who are working out in the morning, kind of makes a little bit of sense when you think about it. Under our starches, we have our whole grains, we have our cereals, and then we have pastas, rice, stuff like that. Now, with the cereals, we're going to say cereal grains, and cereal grains encompasses wheat, barley, rye, oats, and then some fruits kind of fall under that. With the cereal grains, the more, take that back, the less processed it is, the more fiber it has. So with your cereal grains, you're going to say whole wheat has more fiber. It has more of that hull on there. Okay, anything that's processed like wheat bread without the hull and stuff, they take a lot of that fiber out, so you're losing an added benefit. Just keep that in your mind. Talking about fiber. Now, fiber is great. Jeff always is telling you guys, with your carbohydrates, you want to get lots of fiber in there. And he's absolutely right. Because fiber isn't really digested by the body. It's really poorly digested. And what happens is it's like roughage. And it goes through your body, and you can't digest it. So there's no carbohydrates being released. There's no glucose being released for immediate energy. So the fiber is going through, and it actually binds cholesterol, and you pass it, and you actually pull cholesterol out. So that's why we urge people to get their fiber up. Fiber is heart healthy. There's so many good benefits to it. But for us with this challenge, one of the main benefits of the fiber is that it keeps us fuller for longer. Because now, we take it in, we can't really digest it. It slows the gastric emptying in our stomach. So we're feeling fuller for a longer period of time, which is in essence causing us to eat less calories and take in less food and not overeat on those things that kind of go right through us. Fiber, like I said, is not used for energy, but it's a good carbohydrate to be including in our diet. Generally, I like to say everybody have at least 45 grams of fiber a day. I increase that for men to about 60, but the more you have, the better. You just want to make sure with all this fiber that we're taking in, because we're all eating fruits and vegetables, right? And whole grains, but not really whole grains. Sorry, I take that back, unless you're eating rice, brown rice. But so with all this fiber that we're taking in, we have to make sure we're getting enough fluids, or else we're going to end up constipating ourselves. It's going to get lodged up in there. So just keep that in your mind. Y'all know I love poop. But anyhow, so the complex carbohydrates. Now, let's talk about how they're digested. So we eat them, and they go through, and they're bigger, and they have more little things sticking off of them. So it takes longer for those to get broken down, okay? And then we don't have that immediate glucose release, so it's more level, so we don't have a crash of energy. And they get stored, a lot of times, it's getting stored in our muscle and our liver. So we're able to tap into that at another time when we need energy. The one thing, too, I want you guys to know about carbohydrates is as soon as you put carbohydrates in your mouth, the chemicals and stuff in your mouth actually start breaking down the carbohydrates. So think of it like that. So you eat a piece of fruit. It's got a bunch of juice in it, right? It's already getting broken down in your mouth. By the time it hits your stomach, some other magic happens, and it's already being released. So that's why, we talk about fruit, and a lot of people eating a bunch of fruit and then telling me, well, I'm meeting my carbohydrate goal, but I'm hungry. Well, that's why. Because you're immediately releasing this energy, and there's not much fiber, there's not much energy actually in it, so you're just getting hungry faster. Now with the complex carbs, they're real good, but would you eat a sweet potato before you go and work out? I probably wouldn't. It's going to sit in my stomach. I'm not going to be able to break it down to get that energy that I need. And I'm probably going to be dragging ass the whole workout. So your assignment for this week is I want you to look at 2 work days and 1 off day. I want you to journal your food. And then I want you to pull out every food that is a carbohydrate. I want you to label the carbohydrate food as either simple or complex. And then I want you to look at when you ate it and then see if it was the appropriate time for you to eat that or not. And email it to me, or if you're Jeff's person, email it to Jeff, and we'll let you know. And if you have any questions about different carbohydrates, shoot me a message and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But so the takeaway that I want you guys to know today is carbs are good. They are not evil, like lots of people make them out to be. Our body needs them. We want them. And the key is that there's different types of carbohydrates, and we need to be aware of them, and we need to know when to eat them and in what amounts. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed my spiel. See you next week. Hey guys, welcome to week 5 of the Performance Challenge. This week we're going to be bringing it back to a nutrition topic, and it's just me. Jeff's not here, and we're happy. But getting on to it, because I just love these videos.